Hi everyone, good morning and welcome here to the Discovery Centre this morning for the launch of New South Wales Women's Week. I'm Gabrielle Curtin, I'm one of the members of the Snowy team, and it's my great privilege to co-host this event today with its creator, the Honourable Bronnie Taylor, cracking the code of women in STEM, which is really what our theme is today, part of this conversation. Panellist here to my immediate left is Ellen Gunther. She's only been with Snowy for 2 months. So she got a phone call. We met a month ago up in Cabramurra, and she didn't realise that there's no such thing as a free lunch. Hanye, who's working for Future Generation, is a civil engineer. Hanye's got an amazing story. She came to Australia from Iran as a 4-year-old on the UN refugee program. The Honourable, and she is Honourable.
Not everyone here knows that.
Bronnie Taylor really doesn't need any introduction. Rachel Metcalf, who is just a hidden gem. Rachel is the CEO of Specialised Geo, pretty amazing company. They only work 10 metres off the ground and up. And of course, Kim Murdoch, who's a mechanical engineer with Snowy Hydro. Kim joined us about 16 months ago. Thank you to all of you. I'm really looking forward to shutting up and hearing from each of you, and particularly about this sort of cracking the code. So look, the first question I thought I would ask is one that's often in everyone's minds is, what got you into your career? What got you into your chosen career at this stage? And I'm sure there'll be multiple careers that you'll all have.
So for me it all started, I think, at a very young age. Both my father and a lot of my extended relatives are in the construction industry, so I grew up all around that. It wasn't something I wanted to do, growing up, but from a young age all the way through, even until high school, driving around with family, my dad would always point out in Sydney, oh, I've worked on that and I've worked on that. And at first it was a little bit like, okay, you've said it, so many times. My sister never cared, and I was just like, all right. But then slowly as I got older, I started to be like, I want to be able to drive around one day and say, I worked on that. I worked on, that piece of infrastructure or that part of Australia, and be part of something that I can see, something more tangible. And then as I, going through high school, it was my passion for mathematics, science, and a lot of, I was a very curious child.
I think very reflective of Hanye. My father was an engineer, my brother's an engineer, and my sister's also an engineer. So I guess yeah, I know. So I guess it kind of ran in the family, growing up with Lego, Meccano, with 2 older brothers, no Barbies in the house. It was very much pulling things apart, seeing how things work. And I guess I really had a passion around my maths and science.
I probably couldn't be more opposite to everyone else here. I grew up in a beautiful little town in New South Wales, rural. I had really wondered how I would get out of that town. I always thought I loved it, but I needed to get out. And I was the youngest of the children. Nobody ever went to university. And I had to come up with a plan to convince my dad to let me go to uni. And so what I came up with, which is not exactly what I wanted to do, but I thought it was a good plan, was I told him that if I went and did soil erosion at university, I could move back to the farm and help him sort out soil erosion.
Well, as a kid, I could never sit still. I always just needed to be doing something with my hands, but I always loved maths. And going through high school, my mum sort of slipped into my mind maybe electrical, and I'd never really thought about the maths and stuff behind it. But everybody was very supportive of me doing that, because it was something that you could use your brain as much as your body. And I knew I was never going to sit through uni classes and do all of that and get an office job. So, But I ended up going to the Pilbara first, and as much as I was using my body, I sort of went back to maybe I do need to just start my apprenticeship because I need to use my brain as well.
How lucky now that we live somewhere where people have access to a tertiary education and they don't have to leave home. No, and they can, and they should have that choice, but we can. And then none of that, to circle back on that, wouldn't have happened without Snowy Hydro. And so many things in our community, in our town, wouldn't have happened without Snowy Hydro. We wouldn't have you two sitting here today as the next generation talking about these amazing opportunities.
I think it's definitely having that support network, having those people who push you to say that you can do anything that you want to do, be whatever you want to be.
And one of our first jobs happened to be with Rio Tinto. And sitting in the boardroom with them, and they were trying to discuss, they wanted to come to our office, but our office was underneath our stairs, so it wasn't going to work. So we went to their office, and they just said, if you want to work for us, you have to have a corporate structure. You don't have a corporate structure. You can't be a project manager, business owner, and sign off on all this. And so we went back to the board and we nominated that somebody needed to be the CEO. And my husband said, that is not me. And I was the only one left. So we called me the CEO, which seemed ridiculous for a business for under 20 people. But then we also worked out that I was also the crazy emotional owner. And so it was the perfect fit, and it stuck for the last nearly 20 years.
Equality, equal opportunity. Don't name me as the female engineer, just the engineer in the team, another engineer, another team member. We're all just members of society, regardless of whether you're male or female. I think we need to steer away from that. We need to celebrate equal opportunity and make sure everybody has a fair go.
I think it's that confidence, and it's going back to what you just said, we've earned our right at the table. So sit at the table, be proud, be confident, you've earned your right there, no matter what you do, who you are, to take the seat. I think as well it's around that imposter syndrome, where instead of normalising it, we own it. And I think it goes to the quote that you shared the other week by Stephen Bartlett around successful people have imposter syndrome, self-doubt, have gaps in their memory and everything like that. But the difference is they own it and they use it. So they use it to their advantage. So definitely.
Yeah, stop trying to be perfect.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think listening to everyone, you can take out so much of hope and opportunity for the future. The fact that you guys, you talk about, let's get away from that whole women thing and let's talk about the fact that we're just here in our own mind is so different to what we would have been talking about 20 years ago on this panel when Gabrielle was breaking through the corporate glass ceiling and I was sort of thinking about, what I wanted to do. So that's actually how far we've come and we've witnessed it here today. And I think that's really amazing. So I'm excited about the future.
Could you all thank the panel?